Okay, so again, we'll just go into the headlines of this. The Community Woodlands Fund is part of the National Forest Initiative, which was launched by the First Minister in his last term on a very windy hillside outside Neath in March last year. Windy, hail, rain, you name it, the things you do for your job, honest to goodness. So these funds form part of the National Forest Initiative, and the idea is that we would be able to provide grants of between £10,000 and £250,000 to create or restore woodlands, encourage people into using those woodlands, and also connecting, either connecting by woodlands or by hedgerows. And the aim is to create that woodland mosaic that perhaps people remember from earlier times. So we will provide up to 100% funding, so you don't need to have acquired funding from anywhere else. If you do, all well and good, it makes the whole fund go further. But it doesn't count against you if you don't have match funding. As Jason's mentioned, it's open to any not-for-profit organisations that are constituted and have a bank account. Excuse me. So that would include things like community and town councils and local authorities, as well as public bodies. Applications are open now, and we are going to keep them open at this time until October 2021, so a few months yet, but that may be extended depending on the outcome of an evaluation that's due to report shortly. And I also saw today that Lee Waters is to head up a deep dive review of Welsh Government tree planting initiatives, so it'd be interesting to see what comes from that. Now, again, this is Welsh Government and National Lottery Heritage funding. The proportion is different here. 30% is coming from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. So that means there's more scope in terms of how you put that capital and revenue together. Now, the idea is that the National Forest will be in lots of locations, and just in the past few months, Welsh Government have announced the first 14 designated sites. Now, they're all on NRW land, so all Welsh Government estate, as it were. The idea about the Community Woodlands is to try and replicate a little bit of what's happened with the National Coastal Path. So all coastal communities, including my own in central Cardiff, have access to the coastal path. The idea is that communities, as many communities as possible, will have access to part of the National Forest through their community woodland. We do provide pre-application advice, and we would definitely suggest you do it. One of the things we find, we do sometimes get applications in cold, and often, very often, we have to ask applicants to withdraw them, or if they do go through to panel, they often fail. So I'm not bigging us up here, but actually the advice we give is pertinent to your application, and it does significantly improve applications. But I would say that, wouldn't I? And again, the decision time is 8 weeks from submission of application. Just to point out that in terms of an inquiry about a project, that's 10 working days and often a lot less. So it is about funding projects that contribute to the National Forest idea, and it can be about restoring as well as creating. So we do see projects where woodlands are thinned in order to help create that mosaic to increase habitat and species diversity on the forest or woodland floor. We funded the Neath Talbot Council up at Craig Gladys, which is just in Kilvrew. Part of that involved thinning some woodland. It was on difficult terrain. They used horses to clear that. They've been able to restore the woodland. There's some new planting going on. It's a post-industrial site, and they're linking ancient woodlands that surround the site together through the new planting, either by new woods or hedgerows, as part of the whole kit and caboodle, as it were. and they are providing better access for people to enjoy those woodlands. So there was an old tram road there, and they've been able to improve that so that more people can access more of the woodland. It doesn't mean that everybody can access all of the woodland, because it is a steep site, but they've done what they can, and they have improved access for the local communities and the local schools, of which there are 2 in the village, and each has direct access to that woodland actually. So just reiterate what Jason said. It is about community groups. It is about friends of organisations. One of the other projects that we have funded with Woodlands is actually with Duo Cymru, again, a not-for-profit organisation, in helping restore ancient woodlands surrounding reservoir sites in northeast Cardiff. Some of you may be aware of a big fight that went on in the past decade to stop Western Power draining the reservoirs and building houses on them. That was one, and the land was bought by Celsa Steel and leased for 1,000 years to Duo Cymru, and we are now helping Duo Cymru restore the ancient woodland to what it had been, as well as look at things like ensuring that there is a good range of wildflower meadow available as well, so that they've got that mosaic. So yes, it is about not-for-profit registered bodies with a bank account that can apply, and they can be anywhere. So, you know, for Rosie, maybe that piece of land could become a small woodland, because the areas of urban deprivation criteria do not apply. Creating a new woodland can be anywhere within the country, and it can be on any piece of land. So, you know, it gives us greater scope really. And when we look at where these woodlands that we funded have gone, they are in both urban and rural areas, mostly rural, but some urban, obviously, with Cardiff and Kilvrew being relatively urban. But there are projects that are being funded up in South and North Powys, where community woodlands are now being planted. So again, it's an investment in nature that it creates growth in the future, but it's also ensuring that there is more leaf cover across the country, and that the projects that we fund significantly improve and restore the natural habitat. I just should say that the Welsh Government have separate strategies for managing ash dieback and larch. So if you've got a piece of land that's all larch or all ash and you want it cleared, this isn't the fund for you. However, if you've got a piece of land on which there are, you know, I don't know, 50 trees and half a dozen are ash, and they're suffering from dieback, then of course you can include those in your management plan and to remove them from site. So we want people to use the woodlands and foster a better understanding, and provide quality habitats, both for people and, most importantly, for nature. And the sorts of things that you can do, you can provide fencing to protect the site, because what we don't want to do is have lots of fly tipping on the site, and there are sites where fly tipping is an issue. Llanishen Reservoir in northeast Cardiff being one of those. There's there's the aspect around litter as well, and the removal of invasive non-native species, and that applies to local places for nature as well. So that can be funded. Same caveat, there needs to be an ongoing management plan for the site after the funding is finished. We can't fund ongoing maintenance, and we can't give you the money beforehand to say use this in future years. We'll get in big trouble with the auditors, both at the Lottery Fund and at Welsh Government, if we were to do that. It's a capital grant scheme, but you can spend up to 30% on any activity. So the capitalisation of 10% of that capital still applies, and then there's 30% on any activity that enables you to involve more and a wider range of people in natural heritage. The same applies in terms of the use of and prominence of both languages, and you must acknowledge funding from both sources, with Community Woodlands as well. There is a specific set of national forest branding, which if you're successful, we will send you, and you would need to use on all digital and all physical information that about the site and about the project that you're working on. The inquiry and application process is exactly the same. Please send us an inquiry form. We will get back to you within 10 working days. We approach this in an open and honest way, in a way that enables and facilitates you to make the best application possible. We want you to succeed in your application. We have a very high rate of success in comparison to our open fund. So we're looking at the high 80% of success rate for applicants, whereas our colleagues in the open fund, which is, it has to be said, more competitive, is somewhere between 50 and 60% per funding round. So you can see that, you know, there's a good chance of success here. And when you do submit your application, you will get a yes or a no within 8 weeks. And it is a yes or a no. It's not a maybe, we'll give you half, see what you can do. It's yes, here's all the money, or no, have another think and come back to us. And you can come back to us. You would use our standard application form, which isn't particularly helpful to applicants because it's all about heritage. And that's why we've produced the supplementary guidance, which is on our website underneath the grant criteria. And you use that with our standard application guides. And if you get stuck, just give me or Jason a ring and we'll try to help. Any inquiries that you come in with, give the project a name and start it with #COID. And again, as Jason mentioned, that ensures that the inquiry gets to where it should be, i.e. us. We have seen a couple of projects being delayed because this wasn't used and it wasn't picked up and got lost in the system. There again are the contact details. That phone number there, because we're not working in offices at the moment, that's actually just the number that comes through to my phone. If I don't pick up, just please leave an answer phone message and I will get back to you. If you just ring and you don't leave a message, I have no way of knowing what number it's come in on. So please do leave a message, name, number, and I will ring you back as soon as I can.